Great. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Summer Innovation Series. We're so excited to have you all here with us this afternoon. We're really looking forward to this fantastic conversation. My name is Kate Brocht. I am the Programs and Marketing Officer here at Florida House on Capitol Hill, our state embassy in Washington, D.C. that connects, celebrates, and champions Florida to the world. As a part of that mission, we are proud to be a champion for Floridians who make tremendous strides in innovation. From the creation of iconic products like Gatorade and Spanx to the development of critical systems that defend our homes and our lives, Floridians are making an impact on a national stage. We are so thrilled to partner with the Cade Museum for Creativity and Innovation and the Florida Inventors Hall of Fame for this summer's program, Revolutionizing the Future with AI. This year, we're seeing more and more companies making artificial intelligence a part of their operations, and we are blown away at how Floridians are utilizing this incredible technology. I would now like to introduce you to Jamie Spurrier, the Programs Manager from the Florida Inventors Hall of Fame. Jamie, if you could say a few words about the Hall of Fame, that would be great.
Yes, thank you, Kate, for that introduction, and welcome everyone. Again, we're so excited to be back here for our third year of the Summer Speaker Series. We want to also thank our partners at the Florida House on Capitol Hill, as well as the Cade Museum for Creativity and Invention. And of course, our host, James DiVirgilio, for this great collaboration on the Florida Summer Speaker Series. It's a privilege for us to partner with you all again and explore innovation across Florida. So at the Florida Inventors Hall of Fame, we are looking to create a culture shift here, to celebrate our state's inventors and innovators the way we would celebrate our national heroes. Our mission is to encourage individuals of all ages and backgrounds to strive toward the betterment of society through continuous, groundbreaking innovation by supporting a culture of creativity, one that fuels innovation, drives economic growth, and encourages investment in Florida. To date, the Florida Inventors Hall of Fame has inducted 68 remarkable inventors. They collectively hold over 5,000 patents. Some of our inductees are Thomas Edison, as well as Hollywood icon Hedy Lamarr. Kate mentioned Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, and of course, Dr. Cade, the inventor of Gatorade. We also recently launched our new Ignite Education and Community Outreach program for the purposes of inspiring generations of new inventors through engagement. Florida Inventors Hall of Fame is a statewide program located at the University of South Florida at the Tampa campus, and we invite you to visit us anytime online or in person. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Edgar O'Neill Figueroa, the program coordinator at the Cade Museum for Creativity and Invention.
Thank you, Jamie. All right, I'm excited to be here today speaking on behalf of the Cade Museum for Creativity and Invention. And I, of course, want to thank Florida House and Florida Inventors Hall of Fame for being incredible partners. And then just to let you all know a little bit more about the Cade Museum, our mission is to transform communities through inspiring and equipping future inventors, entrepreneurs, and visionaries. And then the museum gets its name for Mary Cade and her husband, Dr. James Robert Cade, who was a doctor, poet, musician, and the lead inventor of Gatorade. And with that inspiration, the museum is designed to promote the development of an inventive mindset, which the Cade does call inventivity. And through our proprietary invention education framework, we create outreach programs, exhibits that spark wonder and teach STEAM concepts through the lens of invention. And one of our marquee programs, Cade Prize, has actually gone national this year. And with that, we will be awarding $100,000 in seed capital prizes. And so applications for that are currently open, and you can find more information on our website, cademuseum.org. And then now to really get into it, I'd like to welcome back James DiVirgilio as our moderator for today's program. James is one of the country's leading fiduciary investors and financial planners, as well as the co-founder of Chacon, Diaz, and DiVirgilio Wealth Management. He has been featured on the world's largest news networks, was a Gator 100 honoree, and a 40 Gators Under 40 award winner. James is also an adjunct professor at the University of Florida, the co-host of the Gator Nation Football Podcast, the co-host of the Inventivity Pod, and on the board of directors for the Cade Museum. All right, I'm really looking forward to the conversation, so I'm just going to turn it over to you, James. Thank you.
Thanks, Edgar. I'm looking forward to this conversation as well, and I'd like to introduce our guest today, and that is Joe Glover. He's been the UF Provost and Senior Vice President of Academic Affairs since July 2008. Dr. Glover arrived at the University of Florida in 1982 as an assistant professor in mathematics. He chaired the mathematics department from 1993 until 1998 before serving in a variety of other leadership roles. He currently oversees the university's transformative initiative in artificial intelligence and data science, among many other things, of course, that you have done. Provost Glover, welcome to the program today. It's great to have you.
Thank you, James. It's great to be here.
So let's start right away with an opening question here on AI. And to the audience, we will have 10 minutes starting at 2:30 for your questions. So please put those in the chat and you can ask Provost Glover a question directly. Obviously, you created an AI initiative and you did this several years ago. I think right now, this summer in 2023, AI has become a leading news item for a variety of reasons. But why the creation of this AI initiative several years ago, seemingly quite ahead of the curve? Why start this in the first place?
Well, one of UF's alumni, a guy named Chris Malachowski, approached us very early in 2020 before the pandemic began. And he asked us a really interesting question, which was, if I were to give you an AI supercomputer, what would you do with it? And so that allowed us to dream, and it really allowed us to dream big. And we knew that AI was coming along. It would be important to the economy of the state of Florida. It would be important to the students that were graduating. It's important to the future of the United States of America. And so we decided to really create an initiative that would transform the lives of the students and the faculty. The students, because it would give them the skills to go out into the workplace with the AI skills that employers will demand. And it would transform the lives of the faculty because they would have access to the latest technological tools to tackle the really important problems that we couldn't or we can't resolve right now. And so we started out with that initiative with those two modest goals in mind. And from there, Chris and his corporation, NVIDIA, delivered the computer. It got up and running in very short order, and that's an heroic story about how that was done in the midst of the pandemic. But then we began to dream even a little bit bigger, and we began to conceptualize the notion of an AI university. And so we set out along the course to build UF into an AI university. And that's what we're still engaged in.
Now, this AI university, what does this look like? How many faculty does this take? What does a degree in artificial intelligence look like? What kind of courses would I take as an AI student?
So for us, an AI university means infusing AI into everything the university does. Teaching, research, clinical services through UF Health, extension through agriculture, the upskilling of working professionals through continuing education, university operations themselves. That's what we think an AI university is all about. AI is really a broad basket of skills. And so if you're a student, you're going to experience probably different aspects of AI or different slices of AI, depending upon your interests. One of the really gratifying successes of the AI initiative so far is that even though it really began as a central top-down initiative, in short order, the deans and the department chairs and the faculty of the university said, wow, we see this is the future, this is really great. We want to take this and make it our own. And so you will find that different colleges have incorporated AI into their curriculum and different aspects of AI. So for example, in the College of Business, the future of the financial services industry, as you probably know, is all about the marriage of financial services with AI, and that produces a new discipline called fintech. So if you're a student in the College of Business, that's the flavor of AI you're getting. On the other hand, in the College of Agriculture, the future of agriculture in the state of Florida is all about remote sensing, drones, and robotics, and then also some genetic manipulation. So that's the flavor of AI they're learning in the College of Agriculture. In the College of Medicine, it'll be about personalized medicine. In the College of Education, it'll be about personalized education. In engineering, it's going to be about autonomous vehicles and coastal resilience. So I think that we are being successful in integrating AI into all of the different disciplines at the University of Florida to really give the students some opportunity to learn about AI in the context of their majors and their future occupations.
Now, how novel is this idea? How many other universities are doing something similar?
As far as we know, we invented the concept of AI across the curriculum, and we're still the only large university in the country that's doing it. If you look at most universities, you find that AI is really concentrated in the computer science department and often the College of Engineering. It's beginning to creep into colleges of business in a lot of places for the reason I mentioned earlier, that fintech is becoming so important. But it's not usual to find it in the humanities or the social sciences or colleges of education, but that is absolutely the future. And AI is already transforming every sector of the economy, certainly in the state of Florida and nationwide as well.
Yeah, there can be no doubt the influence of AI, again, seems to have bubbled up to the top now, perhaps this summer. Of course, you're currently in DC right now at the Florida House, where Washington, DC was among the first, if not the first, to have a fully autonomous driving subway train, right? They're the first to do that. They've done this for years. There's no one driving a few of those trains there, and it's worked out very, very well. But AI seems to perhaps scare a lot of people. Do you have any concerns with, let's just talk about the jobs that AI may encroach upon? That we have an existential threat to humanity, perhaps, if AI replaces all of our jobs? These thoughts have been echoed throughout really history when new technology erupts, and oftentimes technology actually creates more jobs. What are your thoughts on sort of job creation and AI?
I think this is going to be a cycle like many other economic cycles that we've seen. You're right that we have a new technological innovation, and ultimately that is probably going to replace some jobs or make them outmoded. But at the same time, it will create new jobs and new opportunities. And so the point of view that we're taking at the University of Florida is we know that this is going to happen. And we want our graduates to be prepared to enter this new workplace with the skills that are going to position them for all of these new jobs that are going to be created and all of the old jobs that increasingly are going to incorporate AI. So this I think is a very important point. And another part of our agenda at the University of Florida is this is a national concern, right? In fact, the federal government has highlighted the fact that the United States is not creating a 21st century AI-capable workforce at the same rate as our competitor nations. And so we absolutely need to do that. The question is, how do you do it, right? What is the strategy for doing it? I'm not sure that anyone has a global strategy to solve this problem, but we think at the University of Florida that we have a way to contribute majorly to the solution of this problem. We think that educating 10,000 students per year with AI techniques in the context of their majors and their disciplines and sending them out to the workplace, we are making a major contribution to building the 21st century workforce in the state of Florida. Now, we've realized that we alone at the University of Florida we're going to have a substantial impact, but we're not going to solve the problem by ourselves. So we've actually invited and encouraged the other universities throughout the state of Florida in the state university system to join us and to teach AI across the curriculum and to enable their students also to be prepared for the workforce and to help propel the economy of the state of Florida forward. And so we've made the facilities that Chris Malachowski brought to the university in the form of this AI supercomputer available to all the public universities and state university system. We've also entered a memorandum of understanding with the universities and the SEC to do the same thing, to promote teaching AI to students, and that's to help drive the economy in the southeastern United States forward. So we think we have a national model that any university across the nation could imitate if they would like to. And we think that this is going to be a major step towards resolving this national problem of creating a 21st century AI-capable workforce.
Is there a particular challenge to hiring people that can teach students and others about AI? It's such a new field. How many qualified practitioners are there that can come in and say, this is how you use AI in medicine or in finance or in something else? Is there just a shortage of talent to distribute this information?
Absolutely. There's a very tight talent market. But in fact, the faculty, certainly at the University of Florida, recognize that AI is the future of their disciplines. It's very important to their disciplines. And so I think many of the faculty at the university in the different disciplines are engaged with AI and have already been using AI for many years. And so teaching AI in the context of the disciplines means that they can bring their disciplinary expertise together with their expertise in AI as applied to the discipline to really inform the students about the current state of AI and how it's best used in their major. So this actually makes our job of hiring people and finding that talent a little bit easier, because we're not just looking for computer scientists and we're not just looking for engineers, right? We're looking for people in all fields who can integrate AI into the subject matter. We were very lucky and very fortunate, and we are very grateful to the Florida legislature that a couple of years they appropriated money to allow us to hire an additional 100 faculty members in AI and applications. So we hired people all across the university in business and liberal arts and sciences and engineering and medicine and agriculture, health and human performance. Every college participated in this program, and it allowed us to hire specialists in those fields who used AI techniques and who could teach them to the students. And I want to reiterate how grateful we are to the legislature and the governor. And I think they understood that the program that we're engaged in is very important to the future of our students and to the future economy of the state of Florida.
Now, it feels like I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about AI in the classroom from the standpoint of students being able to write papers using something like ChatGPT, or just the ability of AI to make things more efficient. It's augmented intelligence, if you will. How do you draw a line between what's appropriate use of AI and a tool that you might use in the real world versus what's not appropriate in the classroom when it comes to trying to teach people how to learn things per se?
Yeah, the first thing I believe is that students have always used every piece of technology that's been invented, and that's natural and normal in the course of things. And so I don't believe it's profitable or wise or smart to try to prevent students from using ChatGPT or other tools like that. I think they need to learn how to use them responsibly. And right now, ChatGPT is somewhat controversial, as you know, because it doesn't always give the right answer. It can hallucinate or dream a little bit. And so I think that therefore, as students try to use a new technological tool like ChatGPT, maybe ChatGPT will do the first draft of a paragraph or an essay for them, but the student had better be a very good editor, a very good copy editor, a good fact checker, a good person who can analyze that first draft and see if ChatGPT produced something that's appropriate. I like to talk about a story which has been in the news quite recently of a lawyer who needed to file a brief, and he asked ChatGPT to write the brief for him. Evidently didn't check it very much. The brief was roughly speaking, completely fictitious. And now this lawyer is in a little bit of hot water with the court. And I think that illustrates very well that ChatGPT can be a great help, but there are also real pitfalls. And so you need to learn how to use the technology appropriately if it's really going to help you.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. As you mentioned, throughout history, and I can recall my own academic career in life, that whatever advantage you have, of course, you're thinking, well, I have this calculator now. Why do I have to calculate this by hand? You know, at Florida and at Wharton, I remember having to calculate this stuff by hand. And you're like, why am I still calculating this by hand? But there is, to your point, of course, it's a twofold thing. It's a tool and it can become a crutch, which is what you don't want it to become, right? You want the students to learn how they're doing what they're doing, and you want them to augment what they already know to make things more efficient, which is something like spell check. You could argue that's a form of artificial intelligence, or Grammarly, something I love using on all my devices that just checks my grammar for me automatically, right? That's a very helpful tool that's saving me time, but it's a tool. It can't be the crux of what you're doing. So I like what you said there, because it makes a lot of sense. Let's zoom the scope out then, because obviously let's imagine we're 15 years down the road and UF has continued to maintain its leadership position in AI. We have students that are out in the field. We have AI that has become influential in all of these different realms that we are in. And what are the roles that universities, maybe legislators, play in putting guardrails on AI, if any? Should this be like the internet, where the internet's been debated? Should we have guardrails? Should we not? It's largely existed as an open idea exchange. What do you see that looking like?
Yes, I think that's very important. And what I want to make plain at the outset is that every student who learns AI at the University of Florida is certainly exposed to AI ethics, AI regulation, AI policy. We actually have a group of 20 or 30 faculty who are actively working in those areas of ethics, policy, and regulation. They come from the philosophy department, the law school, engineering, the College of Medicine. So this is very important, that whenever you have an AI ecosystem, you have to be very conscious of the potential for bias and misuse and misapplication of the technology. So this is really important. At the moment, Europe and the United States have taken different approaches to this. Europe has sought to regulate AI. And for example, there are some contexts in which you must explain how the AI actually arrived at the decision or the solution that it made. We in the United States have not really put those regulations or guardrails about it. And with the advent of ChatGPT, you see the beginning of that conversation. At the University of Florida, we decided as an institution that we would subscribe to an ethics framework. There are multiple ethics frameworks for AI that have been proposed around the United States and around the world. We subscribe to one which is called the Rome Call for AI Ethics. It was formulated by IBM and Microsoft with participation of the Pontifical Academy for Life. And so we have formally signed that to indicate that we take the ethics and the regulation of AI seriously, and we're going to subscribe to those principles. And we do communicate those clearly to the students who study AI.
Yeah, ethics is such an important subject really throughout, of course, all time when it comes to academia and what we're doing. And especially now, again, with AI, because there tends to be a lot of fear. I suppose this is a personal opinion, but again, we'd be remiss not to discuss this since you've been a leader in this area, especially in the academic realm. Do you have any concerns that AI might reach the sci-fi level self-awareness, that AI is going to outrun us, that it's going to literally pose a threat to our actual humanity? Again, this seems worth asking about because it is maybe the most talked about thing in AI.
Yeah, I don't know if AI will reach consciousness. I'm not sure about that. That is the realm of sci-fi. But certainly the challenge for AI is that it operates on a vast scale at very, very fast timelines. So I think that, you know, it has the potential for moving more quickly than we can. So if it's attached to physical systems and you empower it to make decisions, then you can get some surprising behaviors. I think it's worth going back to ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT is an enormously complex system to answer questions and to produce text or pictures or things like that. But it is so large with hundreds of billions of parameters in it that no human mind can really understand what's going on right now. So in some sense, OpenAI has created a system that we don't completely understand. And even they've been a little bit surprised by some of the phenomena that ChatGPT have illustrated. And now we are studying ChatGPT to understand exactly what it's doing and how best to interact with it through carefully worded prompts and things like that. And so if you make the mistake of hooking up ChatGPT to a physical system and ChatGPT engages in a surprise behavior that you hadn't anticipated, yes, this could introduce problems. So I think that we need to be very careful as we empower AI systems to actually act in the real world. I mean, you also know examples of autonomous vehicles that have had various types of accidents. This is another example where AI wasn't quite ready for prime time. Now, do I think that if we're careful about it, we can rely on AIs? Yes, but I think we have to test it, understand exactly how it's going to respond, and be very careful in empowering it to do things in the physical world.
Yeah, well said. And I think it's always important to note that humans, of course, are fallible, and every human in every profession makes mistakes. And if humans are creating artificial intelligence, we should expect those to be fallible too. But oftentimes they are less fallible than we are, doing the same task over and over again, much like the subway trains there in Washington, D.C., and autopilot on airplanes and a bunch of other things that have already existed and really helped keep us safer. All right, last question here. Broadening the scope back to academics and looking at your ability to work on, I think, a lot of initiatives that were ahead of their time. Maybe give us some words of wisdom on how you've been able to not see into the future, but sort of have your finger, I think, on the pulse of things that were forthcoming. We have a lot of people here in the audience that are doing things in that realm. Maybe again, some words of wisdom on how you've been able to kind of get ahead of some initiatives that were going to be significant in the future. How'd you come up with that?
I think we were very fortunate. We had a good group of people at the university who have some sense of where this discipline is going. We've been very fortunate that NVIDIA, which was the builder of our supercomputer system, has remained engaged with us and has really been a fantastic scientific partner as we've taken off on this initiative. And so recently, we did talk with our board of trustees about the university's 10-year plan in AI. We are going to continue developing AI across the curriculum, which we think is pivotal. We will continue to develop AI in applications in every one of the disciplines at UF. We will look at generative AI, which is these things like ChatGPT. But another subject which is going to be a multi-billion-dollar area is digital twins. And we are going to make that a focus of the university, where you actually build a virtual copy of a building or a physical process like an operating room or something like that, and use AI techniques to optimize the functioning of that particular physical system or object. So that will be a multi-billion-dollar business to be built out over the next 10 to 20 years. And so those four pillars, the AI across the curriculum, AI in applications, generative AI, and digital twins, are where we think the subject is going and where we intend the university to remain vitally engaged.
Yeah, digital twins, that would be another episode for sure. That's some fascinating stuff, and in a way to, I think, make things more efficient. Well, that's going to end this portion, Provost Glover. We're now going to enter into a Q&A session. We already have several questions queued up. If you want to ask a question to Provost Glover, just type that in, and I will read that off. Let's get started here right now. I'm just going to comb through some of these and see what maybe we haven't necessarily touched on yet. Okay. Do you see a future of various certificate courses, maybe more specialized for proper utilization of AI?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Sure. Do you see a future of various certificate courses or more specialized courses in AI down the road?
Yes, actually, we have several certificates at the university level, which are available to all the students at the University of Florida. And through our division of professional and continuing education, we're also trying to make modules and certificates available to people who aren't enrolled as students at the university. They may be working professionals or want to understand the nuts and bolts of AI or get an introduction to AI. So certainly that we are continuing to broaden our array of offerings in AI as we have demand.
Sue asks, does UF offer any online continuing education for graduates? And how would a person already out of school access these learning tools for AI?
Yes, as I tried to convey, UF takes its responsibility to upskill working professionals seriously. And so if you go to our website, the Office of Continuing and Professional Education, then you will already find on there some online coursework that people who are interested in learning about AI and beginning the fundamentals of AI can engage in.
Yeah, that's obviously, I think, something that is going to be really interesting. I'm imagining, and I don't know what you've seen, but if you're probably of a certain age, maybe you think that AI is just something that was, after your time, so to speak, and you're just really not going to engage with it. Perhaps a follow-up question here is, how important, if you're in your 40s or 50s, do you see people in the workforce jumping in and saying, hey, maybe I should learn about AI. Maybe I should dive into what UF has for me. Maybe there's still time for me in my career to learn these skills.
So we have three notions of AI at the University of Florida. There's AI literacy, AI competence, and AI expertise, right? And we tell the students you can engage in any one of those three levels of AI, depending on your interest and your time and your energy. I would encourage everyone to become at least AI literate, because you need to understand, in the context of your life, in the context of your job, how AI is affecting you and changing you. For example, if you are an HR professional, in human resources, there are AIs in the background that are screening resumes that come into your large companies, because your company probably gets thousands of them. And an AI is used to winnow those down to maybe 50 or 100 that you look at. So if you're an HR manager, you should really understand what that AI is doing in the background as it winnows through those resumes for you. So I would argue everyone's life is being changed by AI at this point, and at least you need to have some understanding of how that's happening and how it's affecting you. So even somebody who's 40, 50, 60 years old, absolutely, they can achieve that level of literacy, and they can all. And AI is becoming easier to use. Just like in the beginning of the PC revolution, you actually had to write programs to do everything. Now we just have apps on our smartphone. That day for AI is not far away.
Let's tap into your artistic side here. Question coming in. What's your opinion on artificial intelligence in the art world? People have been winning, of course, competitions using something like Midjourney to create the art for them. This is a large question, right? Philosophically, sort of like, what is art in general? But I suppose, how do you see AI in the art space?
Yeah, I would give two answers to that. First of all, we have people in our College of the Arts that are very engaged with AI in a variety of different ways in terms of art and music. But I think the thrust of that question may go to one of the philosophical and ethical questions, which is raging right now in the art world. That is the AIs that are trained, like ChatGPT. You can have DALL-E, which is another program that in response to prompts will produce art. Well, how does it produce that art? It's been trained on all of the art that exists on the World Wide Web. And some artists have argued that what that really is, it's a taking of their art without any compensation for it. So I think society does have an ethical argument that it's going to have to engage in. Whether that's actually fair use of art that's out there in the public domain, or whether these programs that get trained on art should return some compensation to artists whose art is publicly available.
Yeah, it's really an interesting topic, art for sure. Just in general, what is art? Is it the thought? Is it the execution? Do you have to actually put pen to paper or paintbrush to canvas? But that's a different topic for a different day. It looks like that's all the questions that we have now. So I want to thank you. What? One more. I jumped the gun. Here we go. All right, is UF engaged? We already had this one. Here we go. Where do you see, you touched on this already. So let's just, I guess, close with this, because again, this one I think is one that people are still curious about. You had mentioned earlier, Provost Glover, that other countries have taken different approaches to regulating AI, and then America is kind of deciding what they're doing now. You have people like Elon Musk on one end and others who are kind of writing manifestos that say we really need to guardrail this right now. I'm just going to make you the head of the federal commission here, the chair of the commission on AI regulation. What would you like to see the direction head in for America's regulation of AI?
Well, I would encourage people to pick any ethical framework for AI. As I said, University of Florida officially subscribed to the Rome call for AI ethics. And those systems, the people who developed those systems have actually thought about this. And they involve principles like privacy, transparency, security, etc. And then the question becomes, how do you operationalize those? What does that really mean to have privacy or to have security or transparency of an AI system? And then you get into sort of a political argument, right? I mean, some people would advocate extreme privacy. Others might loosen it a little bit because that would enable the AI to be more helpful and to do more. So I think any one of those ethical frameworks would provide a good starting place to begin to think about the guardrails that you would want to put around AI. That's going to be a long subject. The Europeans have been working on it for years. My impression is the United States is just getting off the ground in this area. So I myself will be very interested to see where this conversation goes.
Yes, much like the internet, I think it will be often debated, and there's probably not an exact right answer, really only trade-offs that you often won't see until you get somewhere down the road. Provost Glover, thank you so much for joining us today. Very insightful. I know that I learned a lot. I hope that all of you watching and listening learned a lot as well. It certainly has been a productive and great time. So thanks again, Provost Glover, for spending your time with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Kate, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to both of you for such an insightful discussion. This has just been so fascinating, and it's really exciting to see how the University of Florida is positioning students for the next step and the next evolution. So thank you all for that. Thank you all for joining us today. We really were appreciative for seeing all of you online, and we hope to see you again next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we're having a conversation with Chris Malachowski, who you all heard a little bit about in today's discussion. Chris is the co-founder of one of the hottest companies in the news today, NVIDIA. NVIDIA is doing really interesting things with AI and computer systems and gaming, and you do not want to miss this conversation. Keep an eye out for the registration link that should be coming out sometime today. In the meantime, I do want to invite all of you to come visit us, whether it's at Florida House, the Cade Museum, or the Inventors Hall of Fame. In the meantime, you can follow us online, and we look forward to seeing you all again. Have a great Tuesday, everybody. Thanks.